Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hello, my name is Ben Thomas, and you're watching Combat Sports UK. Today, I'm joined by OKTAGON MMA star Aaron Aby, who is currently on the lookout for his next opponent. Aaron, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Most important question of the day, how are you doing? Not just physically, but mentally. How is life treating you at the moment?
Great, you know, I never want to be one to complain about life, and just happy I'm living the dream and getting to do what I love, and I'm all healthy, so all good. How are you, mate?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I mean, straight away, instantly, I think we can understand the hunger to get back in there, as I believe you're actually doing this interview at the gym this evening. So how is training going for you at the moment, and what do sessions look like when you haven't actually got a fight booked yet and you're just waiting?
Training has been going really well. I'm one of them. I'm always in the gym. I'm always like training all year round. I might have like a week or two off after a fight if I've got niggles, but that's it. Since the last fight, I was back in the gym a week later and preparing for what's next and improving. So, you know, I love this life. I love being in the gym. And, you know, I try not to make it look much different all year round, because I just love what I do.
The mentality of an absolute champion, that fair play. But I mean, you've kind of been out of the cage now for at least about 4 months, I believe it is. So how do you stay motivated and actually maintain your schedule without having that fight in sight?
This is the longest I've gone being healthy without a fight date, and it's been killing me, if I'm honest, because I love training and I love competing, and for me, like having that date or having that fight planned, it makes me feel more alive, and I feel like without that, it's been, I wouldn't say tough to say motivated, but it doesn't feel the same. My life doesn't feel complete without that date and that opponent. So, you know, I'm itching to get back in there. I'm hoping I can get a date and an opponent soon, and the sooner the better. But yeah, it's been tough to go on like this without a date, especially coming off a loss. You want to bounce back in there and start righting some wrongs. So, you know, yeah, it's been hard, but I've still been training and I've still been preparing to get ready to go.
I mean, how frustrating actually is it? Because you've seen plenty of fight cards go by over the last few months. You've been waiting on the sidelines, waiting in the wings. And like you just said, this is probably the longest time you've been out of the action for. So how frustrating is it for you watching those fight cards going by, knowing that you kind of want to avenge that loss and get back on track?
Yeah, it's been, I'm just moving rooms where it's quiet.
Nah, no worries at all.
It has been frustrating. I feel like, you know, I was fortunate to play a part in the 3 UK cards, being main event in 2 of them, and being active. You know, I think they were 3 fights within 6 months. But that's what I like, and I know that they've been having a bit of a downtime, and they weren't sure what was happening with the UK, and some guys were released, some were kept, and I feel like now I've been kept, that I want that date ready to go, because for me, like, I was used to playing football as a kid, where you were playing every week, twice a week, and that's one of the worst things about fighting, is that you might get 3 or 4 a year, and I feel like when you're healthy and you're training and you want to go, you want that date, you want to be competing. I understand that sometimes it can't be like that for show dates and everything, but, you know, 4 months, you don't want it to become 5 months, become 6 months, and then 9 months has gone by, which is 3/4 of the year, and you haven't had a fight booked in place ready to go.
I mean, you just mentioned there it's kind of tough waiting in the wings when you've just come off a loss. And I kind of just want to mention that briefly. It was a tough loss to take against former Cage Warriors champion Sam Creasy, and now current OKTAGON champion. You've had time to watch that fight back and kind of reflect on the performance. So How do you view that one? Are there any positives you can take going on into the next fight?
There's definitely positives. Positives if I compare that fight to the last fight against Sam. I feel like I made a lot of improvements, and I definitely closed the gap from the first fight we had together. There are some negatives as well. I feel like maybe I didn't push my game enough, and maybe respected his game too much. Things to take away, and some tactical things I didn't enforce that I'd been planning to enforce in my training camp from that. But like I always say, the thing that hurts the most was the emotional part of that fight, not winning the belt, not becoming a world champion for the second time of fighting for it. That was hard to take because that was obviously the goal and my dream. So I have to deal with that and put everything into perspective when I'm analysing the performance, and then look to bounce back and have another crack at it.
I mean, a lot of fighters actually kind of struggle mentally after narrowly missing out on being branded as the champ. I mean, you've done it once before already, and now again your last fight. But how did you actually deal with it? Has the last few months been quite difficult, or are you just kind of looking at the positives and thinking, right, I'm itching to get back in there and just want to prove how good you actually are?
I feel like for me that belt and becoming that world champion is almost like a selfish goal. That is for me internally. When I look at what I've done outside of the sport, and the messages I get and the people I've inspired and touched, that's like the main win for me. You know, like people still message me now calling me the people's champ and telling me how much I've helped them with or without the belt. And I feel like that was always my goal in MMA, and using cystic fibrosis to promote that in a positive limelight. So I almost have to like compare myself to like Dustin Poirier and listening to his journey lately, and accept that maybe I won't be a champ, but maybe that doesn't make my story not as special and not as meaningful as it would be winning the belt. Like for me, I just wanted that for that justification for myself, almost to show that how good I am and how much I've done in this sport. And I don't feel like it maybe means as much to other people as it did to me, if that makes sense. But it has been tough because I am a competitor. I do want to be the champion of Octagon and go on and win that belt. So I've had to put that into perspective, put my journey, my story into perspective, almost like accept it for what it is at this point, and also accepting who I am as a person. And who I am as a person means I'm not quitting yet, and I'm not giving up on becoming that champion. And I'm going to go and do everything I can to make it happen.
I mean, it's definitely sort of a Dustin Poirier-esque story, the way that you've had some knockbacks and you've kept on going. And I think also similar to Dustin Poirier, it's the way you've been conducting your business online as well. I can absolutely tell you are starving for a scrap at the moment, but for some reason, nothing has come about. Do we have any update on the fight news, or are we just still waiting on finding the right opponent, getting a contract across?
Yeah, no, nothing yet. And I've never called anyone out in my game, like in my whole life, especially online. I've asked for some big fights previously in the past, just to like matchmakers maybe who are trying to match me, but I've never been one to call anyone out, and I don't want to be one of those guys to disrespectfully do it as well. So the names I've mentioned online are all tough guys. Like Stipe Miocic has beat me be the four, so that would be a really good challenge, and be nice to have another crack at him. And then obviously David Dvorak has been rumoured as signing with Octagon, who's had like over 5-6 fights in the UFC. I think maybe more than that, and he's ranked top 20 in the world. So I'm just calling them out because I want the toughest challenges, and respectfully, I want to fight the good guys. I think that obviously he's a name that Octagon will be looking to sign, being from Czech and then being big over there. And Birchic's already signed to the organisation, and he just come off a loss to Adamir, who will maybe be fighting Sam Creasy next, just playing MMA math. And then obviously Elias Garcia is never going to fight me, so that's not a realistic ask anyway. But yeah, like, I'm not doing it disrespectfully. I just want a tough challenge, and I'm itching to get back in there and fight, and I just want it as soon as possible. You know, I basically be in camp since that last fight, and I'm ready to go.
I mean, a lot of names are flying off the shelf on your Instagram, and a lot of names are flying off the shelf now. But I do kind of want to touch a bit on David Dobrak a tiny bit. Obviously, he's just come back from the UFC. Well, he's rumored to be signing with Octagon. I'm sure you know a bit more than me. But he has just come back from the UFC. He started with 3 straight victories and then kind of found himself on a 3-fight skid with losses against some top guys like Manal Cape, Steve Erceg, who just lost out on the flyweight title. How do you view his career over the past few years? Because it's been a roller coaster ride for him.
I feel like he's had a very good career, and he's on the back of those 3 losses. They were tough losses. I think 1 or 2 maybe were a split decision. I only, like, I haven't watched them since hearing Octagon were going to sign him, but I remember watching them at the time and thinking one of them could have gone either way. And a guy who's been in there with that many decorated fighters and done well against them is obviously a big name and a big challenge. And you know, they're the people you dream of fighting. And I think you know, listening to him and previously when he was in the UFC, he's another respectful fighter and just in it to push himself and challenge himself. So it'd be a good test for me. I hope Octagon sign him. I don't think it's done yet. I just heard rumors of it, and I thought, oh, if they do, I would definitely be there to welcome him to the division and challenge myself against him, and hopefully he'll get me a fight sooner. But I'm still waiting, still not heard anything. So fingers crossed, because I'm itching to go.
I mean, when like kind of the phrase UFC vet comes about, and the position you are in your career now with just coming off the loss of fighting for the title, where do you think a win against someone like him, a UFC vet, would take you? Do you think it will take you back in reaching distance to a title shot, or?
I think it definitely puts you back in the title equation. For me, I'm thinking I need 2 wins to be back fighting for that title. 1 win against David, you know, could change it, especially if maybe, you know, depends on how Sam gets on in his fight. If he wins his fight and he's defending the belt again, I understand it's going to be hard to market the fight, me v him after 1 fight. But if he loses the fight and someone else has got the title and you're coming off a big win, you're right back in the mix. So that's how I'm looking at it. If I can get a big name and a big win on the record, but I am preparing that I might need two wins.
So now, when you close your eyes and you envision yourself standing across the cage from David Dobrak, how do you see this fight actually taking place? How do you believe your styles match up against each other? And would you have an official prediction of how that fight would go when you think about it now?
I feel like I would need to watch him a little bit more, but from watching him previously as a UFC, I remember thinking he's an exciting fighter. He likes to push the pace. He goes forward. He's well rounded, and I feel like I'm the same. I feel like it's one of those fights where you just meet in the middle and you just go for it, and you're both tired. You're both throwing everything at it. You don't quit, and I feel like I also thrive in them fights where it's who wants it more. And that, you know, with someone against him, I don't see it being like over and done early. I feel like you both be going at it. It's going to come to the 3rd round, and it's going to be a battle of will, a battle of pace, a battle of fitness, and who's willing to dig in. And you know, he is one of those guys who doesn't really have many weaknesses. He's good everywhere. You can see that by his 3 losses. You know, they were close losses, and his 3 wins were close wins as well. So it'd be something I'd be looking forward to, and something that definitely excites me.
I mean, a fight like that is what I like to brand as the people's main event. It's an absolute barn burner. It sounds amazing. But another fight that's kind of been discussed between us just now is that potential rematch against Stipe Miocic. At Cage Warriors 146, it was the Croatian who left with his hand raised. Is looking to avenge that loss something that kind of excites you and makes you want to sign on that dotted line?
Yeah, definitely. Like me and Stipe actually talked since that fight, and like wish each other best when we're both competing. He's become someone I spoke to since that, and again, nothing but bad blood. But it was mentioned that we would be the winners would fight Adamir and Burgess, and the losers. So it was looking like it was going to be me and him, and we both accepted it. And I think he even messaged me saying we'll go for it and have a beer after. Uh, I don't drink mine, but I definitely go again. Like I said, yeah, it's nothing but respect for me. But for me, avenging losses is really like really motivates me because they're again the competitor inside me always wants to do that. You always think you could have done better on the night. I remember on the night thinking I'd won the fight because I remember after the second round, my corners thought it was one apiece, and then I went out and won the third round. Uh, so it was something that I would love to have another crack at, just for the challenger in me, and also like I mentioned before, the Rocky things. That's like a Rocky story as well.
I mean, since that bout almost 2 years ago, it's kind of been a roller coaster ride for both of you. I mean, you've both seen wins, you've both seen losses, but how do you view that matchup now? Like, how do you think you've grown as a fighter since that matchup 2 years ago?
I think I've grown a lot. I think we both have, but I never used to cut weight back then. And I feel like one of the biggest improvements is my game. It's just been because I physically put on size and now cut weight. It was the same with the Sam Creasy fight. I was actually at breakfast and then weighed in the day I fought him in Cage Warriors. So I feel like that's going to have played a big part in the results and previously, and that's going to be something that helps me now. And I also feel like I've improved overall as a fighter. Like I've always been a good grappler, but now I've added a lot more striking to my game. I'm hitting harder and stronger. I don't have to like rush or force a takedown anymore. So I do feel like I've improved as I feel like he's improved. So they're the things that excite you. You know, that's what fighting is. It can be over in a second, and you go into these fights not knowing who's going to win, and you just want to find out who could win. So again, that excites me as well, and going to avenge a loss because I always feel like I do smart things in training, like as well. I make sure I'm training properly. I'm improving in the right areas. So I like to see if my training has caught up to someone who beat me before as well.
I mean, I'm thankful that I will not be in the cage that night, but that excites me. Just hearing about like the motivation behind avenging loss excites me. And both of those fights that we've just discussed would be absolute barn burners, and I look forward to seeing hopefully one of them. But when you look at the Octagon schedule now for the end of the year, there are plenty of cards on the horizon. So when can we expect to see you back in that cage competing again?
I would like to go September. Like they got two cards in September. I would love to go in September. Don't get me wrong, if they throw me on the Germany card, I'll happily miss September. But I think the odds of that are slim. The odds of getting on that Germany card are slim. Uh, Although I would like to. I would think there's a card in Czech Republic in September.
Mhm.
Perfect. There's a card in Germany in September. Perfect. If Birchich, because I think he was born in Germany, even though he represents Croatia, Czech Republic, David, makes sense. October, love to anyone in that in Frankfurt and the biggest card in Europe. And I don't want to wait any longer than that, to be honest. I feel like that's too long after that.
I mean, I feel like if there was a card tomorrow, you'd be flying out there right now, taking that fight
Yeah.
anyway. So I can tell how hungry you are. But do you have a message for your next future opponent, or in fact the whole division itself?
No, not really. Like for me, this journey's about me and helping people around me. As for the division, that's not important. You know, for me, selfishly, I'm coming coming to try and win that belt again, and I'm going to do all I can to do it. And then I'm just going to keep giving people hope and trying to help people along the way. But you know, it doesn't matter about anyone else in the division really. I'm just there for my journey and the people who I can help around me.
Absolutely love that. I mean, so what does the next year look like for yourself and the Octagon banner? So when we fast forward the calendar to 2nd of August 2025, where do you expect to be sitting?
I would like to be sitting with a belt.
Yeah.
I would like to be sitting with the belt. I feel like I said, 1 or 2 more fights, and I'm back fighting for that belt. So that's the goal, that's the aim. But again, I need to fight to do that. I don't want to be having one fight between now and next August. For me, it's about getting out there and competing often, and I need to be able to give them the opportunity to do that. So that's the plan. Please, you know, give me 2 more this year, and then hopefully I'll be fighting for that belt next year.
And finally, before I get you on out of here, I'd just like to quickly touch on the flag that is draped over your shoulders when you go to fight. That is, of course, the Welsh flag. Just how proud are you to be representing Wales on that world stage?
I'm massively proud. Like, my hometown, Wrexham, I love the people. I love the country in Wales. I love the passion in Wales. I love the small country fighting for hope and never giving up, and being able to represent that and have that Welsh dragon, you know, on my tops and on my walkout is something I'm really proud of. I was proud to do it as a footballer and as an MMA fighter, even more so. So, you know, I'm grateful to be able to represent the people of Wales and what they stand for.
Loving that Wrexham team at the moment as well?
Oh, a madness. Absolutely unbelievable what's happening.
It's
Just can't
absolutely
believe
mad,
it.
hasn't it? Who would have thought 5 years ago Wrexham would be about to kick off in League One with Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney? Like,
I know, yeah.
it's
Absolutely crazy. Like,
uh,
it is a Hollywood film, and it basically is.
it really is. And I mean, I'm here supporting Cardiff City, just waiting for a mid-table finish again. But honestly, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you this evening, and we can't wait to see you back in there, whoever that may be against.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Cheers,
Lovely.
Ben.
Ladies and gentlemen, make sure to check Aaron and Combat Sports UK out on all social platforms. The handles are on the screen now, but thank you very much for watching. And until next time, goodbye.
Take care, Ben. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was amazing.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.